A new tool for the disruptor-in-chief. Donald Trump now has veto power over part of Canada's trade agenda because of a provision in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. There's a clause that aims to prevent free trade talks with China. Chapter 32 says if Canada, the U.S., or Mexico want to start free trade talks with a non-market or state-run economy, the other two partners must first approve, or they can kill the USMCA.
It is troubling to provide another country with a formal role in vetting Canadian trade negotiations.
The Trump administration hates China's trading policies and is waging a tariff war to pressure its government into changing its ways. Chapter 32 is seen as part of that wider strategy.
You know, the continent as a whole now stands united against what I'm going to call unfair trading practices by you-know-who. Starts with a C and it ends with an A.
Canada?
No. Nice try.
Canada is now in an uncomfortable position. The Prime Minister wanted to strengthen ties with China and even traveled to Beijing last December in a failed attempt to launch free trade talks. Those efforts are not dead, he says, despite the provision.
And we, as always, will look for ways to engage, deepen, and improve our trading relationship with them.
Canadian canola farmers have serious questions about what this all means, since they say they could make up to $1 billion more per year if they had free trade with their biggest customer.
China is a really important market for us. We see an opportunity to grow in that market in the future.
It's an opportunity they don't want to miss out on because of Donald Trump. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
The new deal also means we'll see more American dairy products on store shelves, and that has some concern about bovine growth hormones. Right now they're banned in Canada, but as Catherine Cullen explains, they pose more of a risk to cows than humans.
Do we really know what's in our milk? Just because it says this, we heard there could also be this.
I think it's important for people to know that almost all foods contain trace quantities of hormones or hormone-like compounds.
With the new trade deal opening up Canada's market a bit more to some U.S. products,
including milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, and ice cream, to name a few.
Some people are wondering, do you have to worry about hormones in your milk, or other dairy products for that matter? About 1 in 5 American dairy farms use a hormone called RBST, recombinant bovine somatotropin. They inject cows with it so they'll produce more milk, but BST isn't used in Canada. This doctor was part of the expert panel that recommended a BST ban back in 1999 over concerns about what it does to cows. Dr. Michael Pollack says it's a different story for people.
It's been studied very carefully, and there is no proof that it's dangerous. But it still remains a bit of a scientific controversy because it's impossible to rule out small, subtle effects.
So if there's no proven threat, why the fuss?
Am I playing Russian roulette with my family?
Certainly, campaigns like this have raised questions.
Fears around the use of BST have been overblown, I suspect, and for good reasons. Obviously, we wanted to protect our market, and we wanted to sell to Canadians that our practices are very strong and robust.
But you still might be wondering, will I be able to tell if it's in my milk? You can tell if you're buying a Canadian product because it's branded like this, but there are still some calls for BST-specific labels for U.S. products.
Should consumers know? I would say yes, absolutely, and let them decide.
Even if there's no evidence, safety's an issue. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
It's all systems go for a new mega construction project in British Columbia, a liquefied natural gas venture with a whopping $40 billion price tag.
We are united in acting to seize the generational opportunity to develop a new sector.
It's made up of more than 600 kilometers of pipeline stretching to the coast, plus a terminal in Kitimat, all of it being built by a consortium of energy companies seeking the fastest route to Asia for North American natural gas. It has support from all levels of government and local First Nations, but as Greg Rasmussen tells us, it's not short on critics or controversy.
Instead of the usual butting of heads, it was hugs, handshakes, and smiles between the Prime Minister and BC's Premier.
Today's announcement by LNG Canada represents the single largest private sector investment in the history of Canada. I like that sentence so much, I'm going to say it again. The single largest private sector.
Trudeau says it will create 10,000 construction jobs and billions in new revenue to all levels of government. Welcome news in the small town of Kitimat on the province's north coast.
I think that Kitimat is about to grow in a way that we've all really wanted to see it happen.
It will transform the town, now just 8,000 people, with a pipeline, docks, and huge specialized tankers to transport the gas.
To show them the fire in our heart.
Unlike the proposed Trans Mountain oil pipeline, this gas project has the support of 25 First Nations.
We've never been a part of any other opportunity such as LNG Canada, and this opportunity is huge when it comes to our way of life.
Yes, we made it.
Before the final thumbs up, BC will have to pass legislation, and the Green Party, which holds the balance of power, is slamming the project as unsustainable. If he's worried, BC's Premier wasn't showing it.
And I'm fairly confident that partisan politics will not get in the way of the single largest private sector investment in Canadian history.
Is that what it is? That's what it is.
Environmental groups, though, warn this isn't a laughing matter, saying these signatures will lead to millions of tons of additional CO2 pouring into the skies. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.